today I'm officially changing my pick for what I believe Howler's stand name to be. Now, at the time, I think the Lateralis stuff was kind of, I had some stuff going on there. But a recent song I have discovered, by pure coincidence actually, it has unbelievably, and I mean unbelievably, connected to Howler, like Howler's character, his family, and his stand from what we've seen so far. So I believe that Howler's stand name is actually going to be Crumbling Castle, a song by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, right? Now, where am I coming from this, right? Now, a lot of times, right, you can say like, oh, the songs have nothing to do with, the characters, right? But sometimes they do. I mean, look at Diavolo in King Crimson, right? That his whole character ties in so much with so many songs off of the Court of the Crimson King, right? Now, Meadows just made a video about it. I'm sure if anybody's seen this, they probably know who the fuck Meadows is, because nobody knows who I am, but that guy's at least known, right? Anyways, I think that the lyrics to this song really connect to Howler's character and his whole family and everything going on currently. I'm going to break down the lyrics and show you guys what I mean exactly, okay? All right, so we start off with the intro of the song, which is "Meet me, glassy-eyed, blind, and divine, holding down the fort on the coastline. The castle is a pimple on the face of our orb, a humble spot for clues to drop if you eavesdrop." Now, already thinking to yourself, how does this connect? Meet me, glassy-eyed, blind, and divine. Howler, in this recent thing on his yacht, literally starts breaking down and he starts crying as he signs over these documents, right? He is blind to what is truly happening to him. He didn't realize the true extent of the situation happening. And the divine part comes from him literally going down and praying to God, trying to understand what exactly is happening to him on this yacht, right? Then you have holding down the fort on the coastline. He is literally trying to hold down his position of power, right, on his mega yacht that is quite literally on the coastline of Hawaii right now, right? The castle is a pimple on the face of our orb. Howler's business, right, Howler's whole organization is the pimple, right? He has a monopoly of water resources and just power in Hawaii on Earth, right? He's a billionaire. He's worth billions, right? And he is a pimple on the earth. His business is a humble spot for clues to drop if you eavesdrop. The group is pretending to be somebody else, right? Entirely at first. They go there and they pretend and they're doing a whole scheme, right? But because they do this, they learn stuff about Howler and what his business is being accused of. If they didn't do that, they would not have known exactly what they could have learned about Howler and how to even potentially take advantage of the situation that was currently happening. Because Jodio and Dragona really managed to take advantage of that, right? We saw it with Jodio. Whenever Howler was being detained, he was like, you know what, Howler? You saw these documents before, whatever, right? Really taking advantage of it, right? So because they went there, they found the clues on how to accurately and, really precisely get Howler to actually sign those documents because of what was happening. And they wouldn't have been there otherwise if they weren't doing that scheme. We then move on to the second little, batch of lyrics here. "I see through the bricks to the sea, crumbling castle. Waters rising up thick and green, crumbling castle. Inching closer each century, crumbling castle. Are we safe in our citadel? Look upon our condition, crumbling castle. You would not believe where I'm from, crumbling castle." Now, I see through the bricks to the sea. Howler is literally seeing through his business, right? He's seeing through all the stuff, and he's looking past all of his business, right? He barely associates with his business, and he goes out, he's constantly traveling in the world. The first time we see him, he's coming back from somewhere on his private jet, right? He is not looking at his business. He's looking through them, right? He sees through his business. The water is rising up thick and green. Howler's stand creates a mist, right? And mist is water, right? And it rises up thick and green. The first thing that we see his stand do is shoot a pin up into the air after it lands. But not only that, when we first see his stand, it rises up out of the ground. And what color is his stand's official color? Green, right? Inching closer each century. Inching closer each century. Talking about how we know that the Howler family has been using the lava rocks for years now, for centuries, right? They've been using the lava rocks to build this castle. But the lava rocks, we've learned, crumble after use, right? After a certain bit, they crumble underneath them. So the Howler family has literally been fighting their castle crumbling underneath them by getting more lava rocks. Without them, they would have collapsed centuries ago, but because they keep renewing the lava rocks, they are able to actually, keep this castle afloat. Are we safe in our citadel? That's asking, is the Howler family safe from falling, right? Are they safe from collapsing? Because the Howler family and the Howler business has been around for so long, has been untouchable by so many things. The government has never touched them, but now it is. It's getting involved, and the Howler family is at risk of actually collapsing now. And that idea also ties in to the look upon our condition, right? Look upon the Howler family condition. Look at what's happening. Look at the government interference. Howler literally had to sign away his land. He's now under government investigation, right? His businesses are almost completely messed up now. He's losing land, losing power. You would not believe where I'm from, right? You wouldn't believe where Howler's from. You wouldn't believe he's from the Howler family because of what is currently happening to him and how he has been living. His grandpa literally says, "Oh, I don't mind you having a hedonistic lifestyle so long as you do this and this," right? Hinting at the fact that he might be one of the first people in his family to kind of act this way, right? Everybody else has been probably more about the business, but Howler has been just not really paying attention to the business, right? Big old Nepo baby, just like, oh, I'm rich, whatever, right? But not really caring about what's happening. You wouldn't believe that he is a Howler because of how he acts, right? And you wouldn't believe that him as a Howler would be going through something like this. This seems like something that would not be happening to the Howler family. It'd be happening to somebody else that doesn't have such power, but it is happening to him. So you wouldn't believe that. Then we have the next little batch of lyrics. We wait for the death that does not come, crumbling castle. Dug all the holes in God's acre, crumbling castle. We have even said our last rites, crumbling castle. Are we safe in our holding cell? Look upon our condition. We head to our extinction. We wait for the death that does not come. Howler was going to actively try to kill Jodio and Dragona, right? He wasn't able to do it because the government interferes, right? So now he's just kind of waiting, right? He's waiting and he's biding his time. He's hiding out somewhere. Dug all the holes in God's acre. I mean, do we really need to question this? The Howler family, the lava tunnels and everything, right? Throughout the entire islands of Hawaii, right? They dug lava tunnels, created that, right? Latrado did that. We have even said our last rites, crumbling castle. Howler literally was like, you know what? Bro prayed before he signed away his land documents. He signed away everything. He's like, you know what? Here you go. Yeah. Pray and everything. Are we safe in our holding cell? Howler's hiding somewhere, right? Hiding somewhere. No one can find him. Yeah. Is he safe in his little cell somewhere? Right? It's not necessarily a holding cell. I mean, he's still a free man technically, but like, he's not really free, is he? He's technically being like held prisoner in a way because he can't be himself, right? Is he safe? Is he safe in his holding cell? Same thing for the next line, but then we head towards our extinction. Howler, right? The Howler family, because of what's happening now, their legacy is about to just completely fall apart, everything. And Howler, he's going to lose everything. The Howler family is not going to be who they once were. So their legacy, their power, everything that they have control over is going to go extinct. It's going to be undone because of this. Then we have
The sounds of the constant lightning would be enough to block out the thought of the end of the world if it weren't for the tinnitus from the bomb. In the when I sway back and forth, I'm brittle as an aged human being. There my walls are safe from wild weather. The filth forms into great nastiness. The sounds of the constant lightning would be enough to block out the end of the world, the thought of the end of the world. For the Howlers, we know that lightning is involved with the creation of the lava rocks, right? So the sounds of constant lightning throughout the centuries would be enough to block out the thought of their end, right? The end of their world, because it would constantly give them what they need to be unaffected by the rest of the world, right? Give them the power they need. If it weren't for the tinnitus from the bomb, what literally just got discovered being made by the Howler Corporation? Intercontinental ballistic missiles. Those are literally fucking bombs, right? So it rings out to the world, right? That rang out through the entire world. Everybody knows what's going on now, right? Bombshell reveal from the Howler family there. So their legacy already just boom, right? That right there is going to make it way harder for the Howlers to stay on top. And the constant lightning, right? Howler can't go and make the lava rocks right now. He's in hiding. In the wind, I sway back and forth. I'm brittle as an aged human being. There my walls are safe from wild weather. The filth forms into great nastiness. The flow, right, of the lava rocks can be, the flow kind of wind, like wind flow, wind currents, all that kind of stuff, right? So in the flow of the wind, Howler sways back and forth. He has gone from being on top, not really sure, right? He's kind of in this weird middle now, right? Where he hasn't lost everything yet because he's not arrested, right? But he doesn't have much. He's brittle as an aged human being. This is more just the idea of the Howlers thing in general, right? They're as brittle as an aged human being because the second something like this happens, their entire legacy is at risk of crumbling underneath them. And that's what we're seeing right now. And as we were saying, because this is talking about mainly the Howlers themselves, right? The Howler family legacy, their castle, so to speak, their walls are safe from wild weather, right? This castle they built, that's where they're safe. But the filth that is currently happening in the current Howler, like Hacca's whole generation right now, the filth that is forming, all this, dirt that is potentially harmful for the Howler legacy is forming into a great nastiness. It is forming into something that is going to collapse their castle. It's going to collapse their legacy. We then have, I don't want to be a crumbling castle, right? It says it twice. I don't want to fall into dust. I don't want nothing but to live on. The ache inside my keep spurs me on. I don't want to be invisible. And then same thing, don't want to be a crumbling castle. I don't want to be a crumbling castle is Howler literally saying that he doesn't want his whole legacy to crumble underneath him. He doesn't want everything to go away. He doesn't want all that. He wants to be himself, right? He wants to have everything. I don't want to fall into dust. Like I'm saying, the crumbling castle. If a castle crumbles, it's going to fall into dust. Howler will fall into dust if he lets his whole empire here, his whole, organization crumble underneath him. He doesn't want nothing but to live on. He doesn't want to just give up everything. He doesn't want to have to live in hiding. He wants to live on, right? He wants to keep living the life he's been living. This whole thing happening to him is something that he does not want. He does not. The ache inside his keep right now is spurring him on. This whole thing happening to him, right, is the reason that he refused to be, arrested by the government. He does not want to be unable to live the life he wants, right? And this whole thing is motivating him to keep himself out of, custody of the FBI because he needs to fix what is happening, right? The ache inside his keep spurs him on and is keeping him from letting himself be arrested because he needs to deal with this. He does not want to be invisible.
This is not Howler's lifestyle. He is not an invisible kind of person. He's out there. He wants everybody to know who he is, right? He's like, oh, I'm a rich billionaire. Here, eat this, right? Eat this food that I have that's so rich and so good, right? He's that kind of a person, right? So, yeah, he does not want to be invisible. And now we're on to the final bit of actual different lyrics, because everything after this is just repeating different, like, other lyrics from before the part. I'm not going to break them down a second time. Okay, that's just fucking stupid. But now we have, on this very day in 1,000 years, the earth will be relative to the sun and the moon, and a new world will be created. I know because it is written here. Howler is waiting for a specific day of the new moon to come around, right? So it's going to be relative to the earth in a way, right? And the sun technically, right? And a new world will be created. Not necessarily a new world will be created, but the power to create a world which you have the power to will be created, because it will create the lava rocks. The lava rocks literally are able to influence the flow of the world. We've seen it. It has made things happen. And Howler knows that this will happen because it's written in the Trotto's diary. He has it written there. He knows how to do this, right? Maybe not entirely. He might not fully grasp what is truly gonna happen, but he knows that something's gonna happen when the new moon comes around, right? And the moon becomes relative to the sun and the earth, and you create the power to literally shape a new world. So yeah. This has been my entire video talking about why I think this song right here, this song Crumbling Castle, is going to be Howler standing. I'm hoping that through this long ass video, or I know this long video is longer, it's longer than I thought it would be, alright? But this song's 10 minutes fucking long, alright? Don't blame me. You can't break down a 10-minute song in 10 minutes. That's just not how it works. But I'm hoping in this long yap session I've had here that you guys can understand what I've been saying here and kind of get behind this as well. Because to me, every time I listen to this song, it grows and grows, and I'm like, damn, it makes way more sense than I thought it originally did for Howler Stan. So I'm hoping y'all can see that too. Anyways, if you think I'm capping and making shit up just to make shit up, let me know. If you think I'm onto something here, let me know. And if you think there's a better song that fits his stand, like lyrics-wise and character-wise, right? Also let me know. I'll be curious. But yeah, that's the video. Peace.